I think dealing with the conflict, the constant conflict, and then the trauma from that conflict, losing your identity as a mom, being in charge as a mom. Oftentimes I've looked back and thought, well, should I have divorced? Because now I have no control over my children. Now,
Hi,
hey,
Jennifer. So glad you could make it. Just for everyone who's watching, we are speaking to Jennifer Belay today, and she's going to share her story with us. So, just share a little bit about where you come from, what's been happening in your life.
I'm a makeup artist for celebrities and commercials. So I spent, before I had children, working in the film industry as a makeup artist. And I think my biggest challenge of my life yet has been overcoming divorce, because everything else has come very easy and very free flowing, very serendipitous, very, just fluid.
What happened that you're going through this now?
Um, I filed for divorce in, I think, roughly 2018. But then COVID hit. And as we were, divorcing in the divorce process, we were stuck together during COVID. And we had a house that had 2 master suites, and I had one upstairs and he had the other downstairs. But I think the real conflict began during that time. He wasn't working, I wasn't working, nobody was working, because both of us were in the film industry, and it's very, live and on location. So I think that's where the biggest challenges started, was because we were stuck under the roof, not able to leave. And there was just a lot of conflict, and we couldn't avoid it. No matter what we did, it just built and built and built. And after COVID ended, it was still a challenge to I think everybody was very foreign to what the impact of COVID, and what things look like post-COVID. Yeah. Very unfamiliar, many challenges in the educational system with our children, learning online, them just, just stressed out and wanting to give up, because learning online, it was just isolating and just didn't work with their brains. So it was challenging for them. And I just think that it was the perfect storm. And
I've got a theory, to me, the COVID didn't create the problem, it highlighted the problem. Do you think it's the same for you?
Absolutely. I think that as amazing as it is to be outside of the home and working and engaging in social, I think that we often, lean on that, so that we don't really have to deal with, the problems at home, or we don't notice. We're too busy to notice. So I agree with you. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you've gotten divorced now, you said, and what is happening? Because I know I've called you onto the show because you've changed your career direction now because you want to help women going through divorce. What is it that made that change?
I think that the most interesting thing is that I sought out for an amicable divorce, and ironically, as I was filing divorce and going through divorce, one of my clients was Catherine Woodward Thomas for makeup. And I got to sit through her conscious uncoupling book tutorial. And it was amazing to be a witness and sitting in the audience of this, bestseller, used by so many people, trying to aim for an amicable divorce as I was going through it. So that's one of the serendipitous gifts that I found along the way. It didn't necessarily work for our dynamic because we were stuck together. Who knows why? But I think that now that I am divorced and looking back, you know, the coping skills weren't there. I think we were thrown into survival, and we had it easy in life. And I'm a go-getter, and I can accomplish a lot. And if I don't have a resource, I go find it. It's snippety snap. It's easy to find the resource if you don't have the information yourself. I think dealing with the constant conflict, and then the trauma from that conflict, losing your identity as a mom, being in charge as a mom. Oftentimes I've looked back and thought, well, should I have divorced? Because now I have no control over my children. Now I don't make the money that my husband makes. And here I am out in the new world, like on a stay-at-home mom salary, competing with $3,500 rents for a 2-bedroom. And I mean, no one thinks about this. And women who are unhappy in their marriages and know it's the right thing to do to file for divorce, just to save everyone the conflict. I don't think that there's a lot of resources out there for stay-at-home moms, or like to do, steps after to prepare yourself for getting shot out into the world on a stay-at-home foundation. There's nothing out there for you.
What happened with the conscious uncoupling?
Oh, I mean, it was early, right when I filed for divorce. It's amazing. I mean, I think there's so many authors out there with just tremendously valuable information available to us. I don't know why it didn't work. I did a seminar, with Catherine after, all of it very enlightening, very uplifting, inspiring. But when you're dealing with an ex-partner who isn't going through the same steps, isn't seeking therapy, isn't reaching out for those resources, and you're the only one reaching for the resources, say, come on, we could do it, we could do it, we could do it, it doesn't have to be conflict-based. Like, you can be friendly. The conscious uncoupling had so many, great tools like compassion, and you have to, put yourself in their shoes and just have compassion for one another. And even through the conflict, and I'm still in the conflict, still trying to overcome all of it and be in my kid's life, I think still the one thing that was key is having compassion. Like, you can't get stuck in the anger. You can't, just don't have it as an option. Don't get stuck in the anger, and the bitterness. You have to constantly give an olive branch. You have to constantly realize that's the father of your kids. He will be forever the most important person in your child's life. And giving one olive branch after the other, even if they don't want it, I think that's what I did. Of course, angry at times, but I think that I've remained keeping him focused. That is the most important person in my child's life, and they need to be treated as such.
Yeah. So you've not changed career direction. Are you going to be coaching other ladies or people, men and women?
I still do makeup. They're freelance based, so I can do both. I want to go back to school and enter the legal arena, because I didn't find the help when I needed it. And I searched high and low, and I'm so good at research and finding resources, taking them and running with them. And yet I couldn't find the help. I couldn't find the help for my children in the educational systems. I couldn't find the help in the psychological care system as far as therapists who would help my children. the educational system, couldn't find the help there. And I just think that there's not a lot of help out there, for, women post-divorce. So that's what I kind of want to make my focus, and go into the legal system, go back to school, and try and define some sort of resource available to other women going through what I went through.
I also started offering free coaching for people that don't have the finances, because you go through so much pressure. And the thing, when you're in a relationship like that, which to me is sounding toxic, I mean, I don't diagnose, but if he is toxic, the main aim, and the first aim, is to take away your financial support in whichever way. So either you're the breadwinner and then you'll end up paying them, out, or they take away your self-worth, your ability to earn money. And I've even got a client now who's actually being sabotaged by her ex-husband, who's also in the middle of a divorce, because he's trying not to let her earn money. It's so sad,
That's my experience as well. I am a fighter, and I've gotten myself around the world with not a lot of money because I figure it out. However, being crippled financially and not having the resources and having someone else sabotage that, or just not even help, like you see that I make a part-time salary. What I've had to do is I lived in Airbnbs for a year as I was looking for a less expensive place, because I was paying like $3,500 a month. And so I lived in Airbnbs for a year. My kids didn't like it, obviously, because it wasn't our standard of living, which was quite nice. But then what I had to do is I met the most amazing landlord who said, sure, you can go ahead and Airbnb this. It's a beautiful space, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, gorgeous, decorated exactly, like the finishes are exactly, how I would like. Now, that's my place. And now I rent that when it's not my 2 weeks, to help pay for the rent. And it's been very successful. But again, that's one of those serendipitous gifts that are dropped in your path to keep you going. But I've experienced the same, just absolute sabotage, and trying, crippled every step of the way.
I see this actually as a global problem that we're having as well at the moment, because it's not just your husband or my husband or somebody else's. It's actually happening in politics, in the medical field, everywhere. And to me, the only way we're going to fight it is if people have got awareness, and we stand together and say, we're not going to take it. But so many people are too scared to step forward. But I think if more people were able to step forward and say, I'll stand by that, and they can see that other people are willing to do it, then maybe we can have also a bit of a stronghold, because COVID isolated everybody on purpose. So now you're isolated because you're in your own place. You haven't got access to finances, and there are so many people in the same situation. And I think the only way we're going to get through this is to say, how can we come up with something, because that's and overrule the court system, because who created it in the first place? They're making up rules and laws as we go along.
It's so true. I have a lawyer right now, and I've had to get a lawyer because I am empathetic. Like I've thought outside the box and said, okay, well, my husband can make a lot of money and he can provide a nice house for my child. I don't want them to have to step down, to a 2-bedroom. It's beautiful, but it's like I thought outside the box, saying, okay, well, maybe that's what's best for them. But then they're not thriving. Then they're failing school. Then it's like they need me. And I have to fight to stay in their life despite the financial challenges. But even hiring a lawyer, I find, on the other side of that is like, well, you can't do this because of this, and you can't do this because of this. There are so many loopholes it's like, well, wait a minute. Now, the law says this, okay? That's why I hired you. The law says this. I was a stay-at-home mom for 16 years. I'm entitled to a little cushion to get back on my feet. That's fair. Gave up 16 years of my life so he could elevate his career, right? This is all intellectually. We all know this as a woman, right? Well, we know what happens. And okay, we hope that there's a little landing pad so that we can get on our feet, because no one wants to be dependent on their husband. Like, who wants that? I don't want to be dependent on a man to put food in my mouth. So, I mean, but it's not there. And the husband can use many different loopholes to get out of the responsibility of what the law says. And so, and you're right, like I've noticed on so many levels that in the medical field, the, legal arena, it's all the same. It's just a big batch of manipulating laws that are supposed to keep people safe and protect us and give us rights. But I have found
for that.
No, it's not just. What I found is injustice at the bottom of every barrel. It's injustice. Yep. It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And then it's very discouraging, but I mean, I'm fighting to stay in my children's life, by doing anything I can. But I do realize I have to do something else. The film industry, we've just come off of the writers.
Also correct.
And it is. I never had that experience on my level. Like, I've worked with amazing celebrities and amazing people and wonderful crews, and it's been a wonderful experience. But I forgot my point.
Well, you're just saying, like,
I have to do something else because it's not stable, and I need stability, and I need to plan my future so that I'm not dependent on anybody else to put food in my mouth or food in my children's mouth. Because if you think your ex-husband's going to be fighting for you, they're not. They're pissed.
They're fighting with you, not for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they keep coming up with more stuff to do that you wouldn't even have dreamt of. Just when you think you're getting somewhere, it just gets worse. So you get surprised by the fact that you're surprised. So, okay.
Yeah,
the only thinking I've had, besides what they say about having no contact, minimal contact, all of that, is if you're in it for the long game, because they want immediate gratification, they up the game, and by upping the game, they start making mistakes. And it's are you able to take it for the long haul? And the thing is, if you don't have money, if you don't have support, you're not able to do that. So if you can just stay alive long enough and able to speak long enough to get through, so you don't have to make a big fuss about it. You could just speak and just speak and just speak, and you're not changing the story. It's always the same story because it's true. It's always the same answer, and you don't have to remember what you said because you know what you said because that's what happened.
Absolutely.
And eventually, I think it's almost like, when you shake muddy water and then it sinks to the bottom and the water becomes clear again. But it takes time. Right now, it's like this. And the only people who win are the lawyers. They make the money.
Yes. Yes, but I had to get a lawyer involved to get help for my child because he was struggling and struggling in school. And I begged for a very long time to get help from the father. And there's no response. I mean, it's maddening. I mean, I'm just trying to stay level on all, just to get my kids to where I used to be able to get them in a snap of the fingers. We know as mothers, we know our children, we know what's right, but to have that taken away, to have our value taken away, to have our voice taken away, to have resources taken away, so that your kids stop listening to you. oh, they think you're a loser because you're in an Airbnb. Something's wrong with you because you don't make 400,000 a year. I mean,
there's always something wrong anyway. They'll find
there's
it.
always something wrong. But I'm not alone. I have support groups going through what
Correct.
I'm going through. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think would be a solution? I mean, I've shared mine, but what do you think would be a way? I know you say working in the legal. In what way would that, what would that look like?
I am going to go back to school and start in the legal realm, studying paralegal because it's quick. And then I don't know where it will go from there, but I want to know the laws. I want to know everything about a woman's rights. I want to know everything about a mother's rights. I want to know everything so that I can give educational advice. Will I be a paralegal? Well, maybe, but it's bigger than that.
You can still give advice now, even if you don't have a degree, as long as you're not taking money, I suppose.
Right. Yes. And I do. And people do call me for advice. And it's like, well, this is my experience. Yeah. But
yeah, because they say, yeah, Karen?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, they changed I remember when I took my daughter's dad to court, he started crying. I took him there for protection order. And he said, Your Honor, she's the one doing all those things to me. And I mean, if my jaw could have dropped on the floor. And the judge said, well, where's your proof? Because, of course, I didn't have evidence. I was naive. I was young. And I thought, how can somebody change like this? Yes. Crocodile tears. He was literally crying. And I mean, he was fetching my daughter from school drunk. He was taking drugs. He was doing these things. And I was so scared for her safety. And he said, no, I'm the one taking drugs. It was just crazy.
That's what's been said about me. Yesterday, day before yesterday, I am still trying, let's do co-parenting therapy. Like, I keep going back into the ring, and all I listened to were a bunch of, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what I was listening to. What do you mean you want to file a restraining order against me? Like, I'm just trying to get help for my kid. Like, I'm trying to get you on board because our kids are suffering. And it's turned around, and he believes it 100%. And I was flabbergasted at it's not true. That's not what's happening.
So the only way then would be to record. If from a legal point of view, the judge doesn't listen to what he said, she said, and, there's no how you felt. It's just the factual stuff. This is what happened on this day. This is what time you arrived. There's the evidence. There's a witness here. There's a telephone recording there, or whatever.
Yes.
And I think more women should implement that. And then they don't want to because they're snooping.
Well, right. But the thing is like, I've stayed silent about a lot of things. Like, I haven't thrown him under the bus or said, the truth about a lot of things. I've kept it hidden because I was afraid. Like, and I don't like making people look bad. Even when he's trashing me, I still have an instinct not to hurt somebody. I don't want to hurt someone's feelings by telling them something negative about themselves. That's just my character. That's just kind of like, my instinct. It ends up happening on occasion, probably in the worst way to deliver it, but it's very hard.
I think that's just when you get pushed. When you get pushed to that emotional reactive stage, then you'll say things. But it's not because you like being spiteful. Absolutely
not. Right. And that's the thing. You get pushed and then crippled here. Oh, your kids don't want to see you. Oh, this, oh, that. It's like, in my lifetime, I have never experienced this kind of devaluing. When as a mother and as a wife, how valuable you were, but all of a sudden you have no value. And you're fighting so many things on so many levels, and especially yourself, to feel valuable.
Well, here's the
Still.
question. If you at a soul level came here to experience something, what do you think the lesson is with him, with your relationship? Because I don't think anything happens for a reason and it's just random.
No, I think it's to find my value in spite of everything, and to know I'm valuable in spite of everything. And no matter how big the storm is to stay still enough and to stay rooted enough in my own value, because I don't doubt that, but the circumstances reflect back to me like, wow, that's what they think. So I think it's just not, you're not listening to an opinion you really need to take into consideration. You have to know your value no matter what.
Yeah. So you choose you before you choose him.
Absolutely.
So what advice would you give to women out there that are in similar kind of situation?
I mean, I think it's very difficult to co-parent with a person who has this issue. I think you have to have very limited contact. I think you need to focus all of your energy on empowering yourself and armoring yourself with knowing the law and knowing your rights, and you just have to protect yourself, and you don't listen to the garbage. You don't listen to that perspective. I mean, it's a huge a dive into yourself. You have to find everything out for yourself, and you cannot rely on that source for any bit of information, period. And I mean, I don't know what the answer is because I haven't found a solution yet. I'm still battling the same issues. So I'm, progress, sure. I took drastic measures to get my child less toxic. But unless they're with me, I don't have control over what is happening there.
Are they safe with him?
I don't know. They don't tell me, they don't tell me what's really going on or how they're really feeling. They've learned to, turn everything, oh, you're crazy. Oh, you're overthinking. I'm concerned about well-being. And unless you actually go to court, file for full custody, if you suspect that there's substances in the house, but I don't have the evidence of I don't know what he's doing. I have no idea. And if the children are saying everything's fine, but their behavior is, staying out late and flunking school and getting into trouble, like what? That's not safe to me, That's not being in control. But if you don't have the information and you don't have truth, what do you have? You have a woman's and a mother's worst fears that you see playing out, but you can't use it because kids won't tell you what's really going on.
In fact, what they do is they make you the bad guy.
Yes.
It's only late, but the wheel does turn. Again, like I say, it's that long game.
Yeah.
If I used to say to my daughter, they can control what you eat, they can control what you wear, they can control how you speak, but they can't control what you think.
Right.
And just remember that you have autonomy over what you believe in the inside. It doesn't matter how many times somebody says something, and you just can keep reiterating that, But it's tough because they'll have the money and they'll make these like insidious remarks that are seemingly caring, but are actually having a dig at you.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, if you had to do something differently, what would you do different if you could start your life again? What would you do differently?
Without this experience or with the experience?
Whichever.
I would have listened to the red flags, and I would have
So they
taken
were?
action. Yes, I would have. I would have taken action sooner, and I would have stopped protecting another person that was not protective of me. And I would have taken action sooner. I would have, not enabled the story to lull for so long. Take action, 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 action. That's what I would have done. And that's what I didn't do early enough. And it still would have been hard. It still would have probably presented a lot of the same components, but it would have been done by now.
I have that. I often say,
I would have had more control over my kids. They're 16 and 18. Like there's not a lot I can control right now because I waited so long to take action,
I
and to
often say
protect
to people, if they have any regret, it's that they wish they'd left sooner. It's not that they'd left. There's no regrets there.
Right.
But there's a reason you stayed, because maybe you wanted a family for your children. It wasn't highlighted to how bad it actually was, because like you say, you're busy, you're working. It's not, I think if you had been in that situation sooner, it would have been highlighted sooner. But it's so
Right.
easy because you're busy and life happens. And then you think, well, let me stay for the sake of the kids.
Mm-hmm. And it wasn't always a nightmare 24/7. There were times where things were fine and we had family moments.
Exactly.
And you in a marriage, there's a lot to get through. A lot of marriages go through a lot of things that is normal. I just think that you can't let it go on too long before getting outside help, counseling to actual fix, discover the issues, or separate and take a break. And I had asked for separation, and it wasn't honored. And I think that separation is really needed before you actually take the big step, like separate, go think, and look at yourselves.
Yeah.
I never got that.
Yeah, because when you disentangle yourself, you're able to think of it clearly without actually going that route.
Right. Yeah.
I think I've got a theory. So I don't know. Tell me what you think. I believe that women that get in situations like that are normally very independent, very intelligent, very productive members of society. So they tend to be more empathic. So call it an empath, But because of that, and we're not standing for it anymore, we're rising up against it. We're almost like the early adopters of what's going on in the world to show people how this is actually crept into every part of our society. So we are actually the forerunners or the speakers for those who are to follow. Do you think that that's true?
100%. 100%. Absolutely. And I even though, okay, this is very specific, it's about divorce and it's about, being the empath against the opposite. There's no mercy for me, yet you give mercy. You're just free mercy. Anyone want mercy? Come to me. And it's like, wait a minute, I'm getting no mercy, yet I'm offering mercy for all. That's the imbalance that any human needs to correct within. You don't give free mercy, especially when you're not getting any.
No, it's crazy.
But you're right. I mean, it's a very specific situation that a lot of people can't relate to. However, the experience from the situation can be applied and related to multiple.
Everything, everywhere.
Everywhere.
Because it's in our school systems. It's in, I mean, look what they're teaching at the schools now. The kind of stuff that's going on there.
Yeah.
You know, the whole lot, everything. It's just totally out of balance.
It's so out of balance, and we're not in control. And it's time to get control of our children, control of what's being put into their minds, and not to control them. It's to free them from of everything else that's trying to control them and confuse them. I mean, when we grew up, we weren't pulled here, there, everywhere. Look, this is in your face. This is in your face. We had a very peaceful, we had nature. You know, we didn't have phones, but someone wasn't trying to get a hold of us 24/7. We weren't answering texts. It's just, we are so, we have so many distractions and pulled in so many directions. It's very hard to stay centered today.
So could it be, with all this chaos, that it actually forces people to go in?
Mm-hmm.
So that's actually maybe a blessing in disguise, right? It's like, I don't know what's going on out there, so let me just go in here and find me.
That's what I've done. That's what I've done. And even though you and I know, because we've done the deep dive, and it's like, oh, I actually do kind of like myself. And, oh, I really don't need to go brunch today with a bunch of people and listen to a bunch of nonsense. Like, I kind of just like spending time by myself, you know? And then we see our kids shoving their phone in their face and looking to nonsense and just like, what is that content? What are you exposing yourself to? It's like, we're the ones saying, you don't need that, you know, and they can't relate because that's what they're, you know, being controlled by. That's all.
Yeah. They're out of control because
they are.
That's controlling them.
Yes. And how do I explain this? They are so not in control of themselves or their destinies. And that's the most frightening thing to me, is because if they're here, what about their college path? What about their, you know, what they want to do for a living? Like, ask the youth today, the 16, 17-year-olds today, what do you want to do in 5 years? They can't think past an hour.
No, they can't. Although that's the world we live in anyway. I don't even think I would know where I'd be in 5 years from now.
I don't think anybody knows. Yeah. We're just trying to stay hopeful.
Yeah. To stay alive and stay healthy, even with that.
Healthy, even with that. A lot of competing forces out there. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I love what you had to say about people knowing their rights, really, you know, taking control of your own situation, taking action, and just realizing that the situation is not going to get better. So any last thoughts that you'd like to share that I haven't maybe asked you?
I just think, you know, when you do take action and you do take a leap, like say picking a lawyer to defend you, you have to do your research and you have to look at their wins. And it's so easy to even be suckered in to a lawyer that makes promises, but then doesn't deliver. I mean, you just have to do your due diligence, but you have to know what you want. What is the outcome that you want? And not get so lost on all the in-between. What do you want? And for why? Well, we want our kids safe. Well, we want our kids to thrive again. Well, you know, we want to be in control of our lives. The wants need to be front and center all the time. And it can't be based off emotions or what you're not getting. It just has to be what's right. Like, what's right? What is the right thing? What is the right thing for them? I mean, we can't always just think about ourselves. Like, what do I need? What is the right thing for everyone involved? The children. Take that, the X out of the, for us and our health, what is the right thing? And then focus only on that. Not on the loss, not on the, the trauma. EMDR. That's what I would recommend. That is what absolutely saved me. The trauma you address.
Beautiful.
There,
it is.
EMDR. It's amazing. This, you have to okay, what's going to work for that? Solutions, just solutions, and stay lost in all the emotions and the loss.
The good thing is, although you actually, on that note, have you cut energetic cords with him?
I have actually gone to healers to prepare ritual baths in a way, to do cord cutting ceremonies, and it's all light based. I don't dabble in any dark anything, but herbs, natural salts, taking baths, visualization, meditation, breathing exercises. What's that guy named Wolf? Something. There's a lot of breathing exercises available online that I do. A lot of visualization, a lot of cord cutting, a lot of candle lighting. I don't know. Anything.
Because they work at that level. Because I know you mentioned the white light, but I mean, to me, most of these people are operating some kind of black magic or dark forces in some way or shape. If they say they're Christian, they might be there, but under false pretenses, just so that they can get into that community.
Wow, I can't believe you're saying that, because I just said to my boyfriend last night, I think there is a hex. I mean, what has happened to my brother, to my father? It's not just me that has been sabotaged. My entire family, my children have
without
been
a doubt. I can tell you right now, without a doubt, they will have done something. And you'll not get out of it, as far as I know, until you break that.
Yes.
And there are lots of ways to do it, but you have to do it.
Yeah. Yes. And I have done it. I mean, he's in the freezer right now.
But well, what is he doing in his freezer? You know what? I was telling my friend last night, I was being attacked in my sleep. And I was being thrown across the room by some entity, and I couldn't speak. My chest was like tight, and I couldn't verbalize. And then I just said, "Leave me in the name of Jesus." And as I said that, I woke up. It was so instant that I thought, there is no way. Yeah, there is no way that it was just a dream. So I was either on an astral level or something, but there are beings that are here to torment me, and they have been sent. So be aware at that level, because you're fighting this on a spiritual level. Your lawyers will delay, then the court delays, then something else happens, because we are not fighting it on that level.
Right. I said these exact words to my boyfriend last night. I said, we're not fighting it on this level. This is a spiritual level. And I said, we have to pray. We have to pray together every night in the name of Jesus, because that's all we've got now. Everything else is... And it's crazy that you're talking about this, because it was last night that I was driving in the rain and I couldn't see. I had to pull over. I pulled over in not a good area of town. He had to come get me. And I was like, why is this happening? Like, my eyesight has gone. I've gone deaf in my right ear almost. Like, all of these physical things are happening to me, in addition to the bad luck of my kids, my family, my father, my brother, my sister, my health. I mean, and it's real. It's not imaginary. And it's scaring me.
Well, I believe you wouldn't be engaged in a match with a person like that unless you met your match.
Right.
So as powerful as he is you are. That's why he has to keep you there, because he
Yeah.
knows your power. And
Yes.
it's like that one step deeper from self-worth. It's
Mhm.
know your power.
Yeah.
You have no idea how much you can shift. And that is why I think it's crucial for people to know that, because we are the ones that stand up, that speak our truth, that will not tolerate it, that other
Right.
people don't see. They're still blind to what's going on.
Right.
And they don't even understand this actually exists. That's why I'm speaking about it.
Absolutely. And
That's the
I'm right there
spiritual
with
warrior journey.
absolutely. And it's on a spiritual level that you really have to pay attention, and you have to use the powerful names like Jesus, even though I'm not religious in any way. That name is powerful, and it
I
represents
literally, I woke
light.
up, my eyes just like that. And
Yes.
I've been having these weird dreams for the past few months now, hey? Very
Interesting.
intense. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Well, we're on the same, we're having the same experience. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. So where are you now on your journey with all of this being said? You obviously have gone through the same thing
Yeah, twice. And
twice.
I've met so many narcissists. My husband was 17 years. Yeah, I was supporting him. So luckily I had money, but he used to say to me, if you leave, it's going to cost you. So I will claim spousal support and you're going to pay me out for everything. And I managed, and I thought, if I'm going to be in this, I'll be in it for the long haul. So I took my time, got the right advice, took notes, got evidence, and the irony of it is I never had to use it. It
Interesting.
actually, I just don't think he realized how much I went through the process of doing everything right in the background, so that by the time that divorce went through, it hit him. So he was in so much shock, he didn't think it would actually go through. But besides that, I just decided that if I'm here to speak out, then that's what I'm going to do. So I do. I don't mention names. I don't. For me, I want to stay alive long enough to get through it.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know. So I kind of stay low on the radar, but that doesn't mean I'm keeping quiet. I just think it's
Right.
time to speak out, and it's time for everybody. If everybody just did their part,
Yeah.
so few. I believe, like, you well read, you willing to study, but some people can't study. So then
Mhm.
you be the voice for them. So
Absolutely.
that's how we help each other. Some
Hmm.
people can't read, some people can't study, but they need that information and they don't even know where to find it.
I didn't know where to find it. I didn't know anything of what to do. I just was naive and thinking, oh, it'll work out. Oh, if you're just fair. Oh, if you're just good. If you're just, give someone the benefit of the doubt. I was stuck there. And that's what hurt me the most.
Well, you've got to take responsibility for every part of your life. You can't outsource your finances, you can't outsource your happiness, you can't
Nope,
outsource your relationship, your career.
really not.
Hard lesson, but you know what? It's just like if it just happens all together, it would be
Yeah.
nice if it was staged.
Yeah, please, please. And I think survival is where it's at. Like that's where I'm, sure, I've found a way to make things work, but when your health starts declining because there's so much stress and there's so much opposition, um, and no one is cooperative, it no one wants to cooperate. It takes a toll on your health, and that's also something very important for us to keep front and center: our health, our well-being, our, you know what are we eating? You know, are we juicing? Are we exercising? Like that's very important as well, is we have to take care of ourselves to keep the machine going.
Yeah. Well, they will, give them enough rope. They'll eventually, hang themselves. You don't have to do anything. I just think when you stop resisting, there's if you're pushing against someone, they'll be pushing back. But if you just stop resisting and they keep trying and there's just no resistance, eventually there's no fuel. They don't get any energy supply from it. So trying to get them to do something gives them fuel because they know it frustrates you. They know that you're not getting what you want. That's why they fight it. So if they said, no, Mandy, okay, that's fine. No, I can't see. Oh, that's fine. Just total silence, radio silence.
That's my struggle.
And that's it. That's the only way because, whatever you resist persists.
Correct. But what if you're trying to get your son into a better school and then they don't want, or, what if, you're trying to, get your kids in a better school or get them into the proper, outpatient for rehab or getting them help with alcohol or getting them, and then the other person just doesn't cooperate, doesn't pick up the phone, doesn't sign the form. It's like, that's what I've been doing.
So here's the thing, right? If everything is a mirror of what's going on inside, then if you were to heal the fact that they needed rehab within you, they might not need that. If it is in them and it has nothing to do with you, they might have to go through that anyway. So it's like in Ho'oponopono, it's that, what do I see in somebody else that I think is their problem?
Yeah.
Is something I need to heal in me. Otherwise, I wouldn't see it. It wouldn't trigger me.
Right. That's very true.
And it's amazing because we're seeing all these things, but that means there's more to heal.
Interesting. Yes. Perfect acceptance. I think acceptance of everything that is the answer.
Then it goes away because it doesn't exist in your world. There's no resistance. Right. It just is.
Exactly. Okay, I'm going to write that down.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for taking time to chat with me.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome and good luck.
Thank you. Back to you too.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.